Hello and welcome to the Wonder Subs Football Podcast. We're back again with the best ever football podcast. That's a fact, baby. The three Wonder Subs are back once again and we've got a whopper of a podcast for you. I'm Paddy Murphy. You can call me Spud if you want. Joining me as usual are the wonderful football journalists Tomas Carlos and Carlos Santos. Hello, gentlemen.
Paddy, very well. Nice fresh air in the Slovakian mountains.
Oh, lovely. I'm jealous.
I'm ready to rock and roll this.
Good stuff. Carlos, how are you?
All good. Although, Paddy, I must say, I'm not really a football journalist. I'm a football analyst, but I'm with you, bro. I'm all good.
Okay, well, from next week then we'll call you a football analyst. For now, you're a football journalist.
That's fine for me.
So now, look, even though there's been a break among the world's best football leagues, thanks to the international break, there's still plenty of stories for us to sink our teeth into. Now, of course, you know that there's a vast amount of football-loving population among you that don't like international football, but you're not going to find them on this podcast, baby. We're all massive fans of international football here, and unapologetically so too. Now, we've got a couple of guests today. We have Italian football writer Giancarlo Rinaldi on to speak about Serie A, the international team, of course, the new-look international team, and we'll speak about some Serie A promotion as well. We'll also have the Hungarian football writer Attila Benei on to speak about the Hungarian Classico as well. So, you're very welcome to Wonder Subs. Of course, you can listen to us on iTunes, Libsyn, on any of the Android podcatchers as well. Just have a search for Wonder Subs. We're on Twitter, search for Wonder Subs, and Facebook as facebook.com/3 Wonder Subs, and we're Wonder_subs on Twitter. Right, that's it then. So let's get it on. First up is Giancarlo Rinaldi to speak about Italian football. Join us now, we have the esteemed Italian football writer Giancarlo Rinaldi. Hello, Giancarlo.
Hello.
You're very welcome to Wonder Subs, and we're very happy to have you on. So look, let's start, I suppose, because we're coming up to the end of the international break. Are you happy with the performances of the Italian team over their two games?
Not really, no. I mean, the only thing I think you have to take that morale was very low after elimination from the World Cup. And they haven't really sorted out the managerial situation, which left the team in a kind of limbo, really. I mean, I think all the players who were playing over the two games knew that the chances are that Gigi Di Biagio is not going to be in charge beyond May. So, I think that gave a kind of lackluster performance. I thought they were actually okay in both games until they went behind, and then really they kind of lost their way, and they lost their confidence, and it did take a bit of VAR, a bit of the video assistant referee to help them out against England to get a draw. I thought there were a few bright spots. I mean, I think Federico Chiesa's performance in the second game, the initiative he showed was quite good, and there were a few other of the younger players I think that did okay, but it wasn't. I wasn't expecting great things, and I didn't see great things. I think the revolution and the rebuilding of Italian football will start when we get a permanent appointment as the manager, really.
Yeah, we were talking last week about the Spanish FA bringing in their former under-19 and under-21 manager, and he's done quite good things. He's brought in like Asensio and Isco and all these younger players, and it looked like the Italian FA, well, they've done pretty much the same thing, but why has it not worked for them?
Well, I mean, obviously, two games, it'd be unfair to judge, and, there is still a chance that Di Biagio might get the job long term, but I think he was kind of undermined through the week. I don't know if you saw, but Alessandro Costa Curta, who's involved with the federation now, was asked, whether Di Biagio would get the job long term, and basically what he said, it was one of these things where he was damned with faint praise, because he said, he's a good manager, and there are only a few that are better than him. So, it wasn't really the most ringing endorsement he got. And I think, over time he might. The only thing I would say is that his under-21 side wasn't the most thrilling team to watch, and although they got some good results, some of his tactical choices, I think he always seemed quite a cautious manager, and I don't think there'd be too many people who watched Italy's under-21s who would be crying out for him to get the job long term, especially when you've got managers of sort of such calibre kind of waiting in the wings. I mean, especially if they could tempt Carlo Ancelotti to take the job, or Antonio Conte to come back, then, you'd have to say it'd be a bit of a no-brainer, really, in terms of managerial experience. And although they might not have the track record he has of working with the younger players, I think, anybody in Italy would take those two names or a few of the others that are being linked with the job before they would have Di Biagio.
Oh, I'm so jealous, Giancarlo. Like, we have Martin O'Neill, and you lads can have Antonio Conte or Carlo Ancelotti. Like, it's just not fair. Look, Giancarlo, one of the lads had a question for you to do with the Argentina squad. Who wants to take it, lads?
Giancarlo, this is Carlos here. Argentina national coach, Sampaoli, he said that probably Icardi and Dybala would have trouble in getting into the national team for the World Cup. My question is, you see them regularly playing in Italy. Can they actually make the team worse? And don't they fit a team that just lost 6-1 to Spain yesterday?
Well, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I mean, I don't know, he obviously said these things before that game, and then looking at the result afterwards, you have to wonder whether he might have changed his mind. I mean, certainly, the evidence in Serie A, and any watcher of Italian football would be amazed that those two players wouldn't at least have a chance of featuring in the Argentinian national team. I mean, we would have killed last night. I mean, if you don't want Icardi, then we'll do a straight swap for Ciro Immobile, because he had three chances. that Icardi would have. I think Icardi would have buried all three of them, So, I mean, Icardi being a deadly finisher this season. He doesn't get a lot of chances. The nature of Italian football, often you need only, you'll only get 2 or 3 chances a game. But he's the kind of man, certainly in Italian football, if you were betting on somebody to take those chances, he would be one. His conversion rate is really impressive. And Dybala.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say that sometimes I heard that quote, and then I heard it again, and I was just having my coffee after lunch. I was really thinking, I mean, he's making fun of Portugal. We don't have any strikers. We have Ronaldo, that's a winger, and he plays in the center. Then we have Andre Silva, that doesn't even play in Italy, but he's gonna have a chance to start in the World Cup. I mean, we could have Argentinian 4th or 5th forward. We wouldn't mind. When they just leave Icardi and Dybala out like that. Oh my God, I was really frustrated by this. But it's just a thought. You can keep on going with Dybala, of course, mate.
Yeah. No, I mean, Dybala is another one that's been, again, in Serie A. I mean, whatever you might think of the standing of that league in world terms. I mean, he's been a match winner, a match turner for Juve this season as well. So, to think that, I mean, I understand, you look at the Argentina squad, and they have got a proliferation of talent, especially in the attacking department. So, they might be that these players don't feature as highly as somebody watching Italian football would think. But, just the same, I think that the level they've been playing at this season would surely merit some sort of inclusion. I know a manager has to look also at the tactical setup, and he has to look at, what players fit with the system he plays. But, I mean, I do think, to me anyway, the hallmark of a good coach is being able to work ways round, to adapt, to have your best players in the team, or to adapt your tactics to fit those players in. So say, okay, Messi was missing from injury, you have to adapt and find a way to try and get the best players you can in, so that, as I say, they might not be first choice for Argentina, but certainly it raised my eyebrows that they weren't, there was a thought that they might not feature at all, or might not, be anywhere in the reckoning, because there are two players who would walk into the Italy team as well, I would say.
That's the question. The way I look at the squad and even the team that played yesterday, they have a target man. They have Higuain. Icardi works well as a target man as well. Dybala is a more mobile forward, of course, but he can still play up front. And when you have I mean, Icardi can't be out of the squad the way I see it, because if they play it with a target man next to Gonzalo Higuain, I mean, he's the one to take, you know. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, as I say, they're different styles, and you know, and I think that. I mean, not Higuain's not everybody's favourite player. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people maybe think he's great up to a certain point, and then when the level goes up to the very highest, he's not the best. But you know, he's still a proven goal scorer. But you know, Icardi's got age on his side, and I just think, you know, as I say, the performances he puts in, if you gave him the sort of supporting cast that Argentina could provide, I think he would score goals for fun. Really,
if you gave him chances to score, if you give him chances, he'll convert them.
I think so. And as I say, and Dybala, I mean, even if he didn't start, what a player to have on the bench to come on. I mean, Juve have used him like that this season as well. Wait till a team's a little bit tired and then bring him on, and he can be devastating as well. Or in matches that are close, you know, you can be pretty sure he's one of the players you would bet on to pop up and turn a game.
It would be the wonder sub, basically.
Hey.
Thomas, put this one on. Sorry, man. Sorry.
That's a great one. Thomas,
it was there for me to take.
Thomas, you had a question for Giancarlo.
Yeah, Giancarlo. Argentina played Italy in a friendly a few days ago. I'm pretty sure you saw the match. How would you compare Italian side with the Argentinian side? I know the situation is different. Italy didn't qualify for the World Cup, whilst Argentina are preparing for the World Cup. But how would you compare these two national sides at the moment?
Well, I mean, I think in the first half in particular, Italy showed Argentina a lot of respect. The two sides kind of respected one another. I think you could tell that Argentina had a bit more in their locker in terms of quality over the 90 minutes, and as soon as they got ahead, I mean, it was actually bizarrely, it was probably Italy's best spell of play that Argentina got ahead. But as soon as they got ahead, it looked fairly comfortable for Argentina, and they did have a bit more swagger about them, a bit more confidence. Although I dare say that'll have been undermined by the follow-up result, and obviously qualification wasn't easy for Argentina either. So, you know, I guess their confidence might be quite fragile as well. But I mean, on my viewing of that game, Argentina looked more much more the finished article than Italy did. Italy, a team that's obviously rebuilding, and you know, there's this kind of generational change going on in the side now, where you've got some of the old heroes of Buffon coming to the end of his career, Chiellini, Barzaghi's definitely gone, De Rossi, all these great names that, you know, have either gone or are in the process of going, and you know, you need to give time to bring the young players through. Whereas, as I say, against Italy, Argentina looked a much more polished side, and they also had, again, players on the bench that would quite likely start for Italy, you know, so that there was quite a difference there. There's no use hiding it, and it did look a bit like, you know, it was almost a training exercise for Argentina. Well, it was a training exercise for Argentina ahead of the World Cup, and you know, it was a bit sad as an Italy fan to see Italy reduced to a kind of a luxury warm up opponent ahead of a major tournament. But that's the way things. That's the reality of things at the moment.
Giancarlo, returning to Serie A. I was writing something about Napoli there earlier today, and I'm kind of hoping Sarri will have rethought his plan B over the international break, because it's fairly evident over the last couple of matches, losing to Roma, drawing with Inter, only getting one past Genoa in the last match, that they don't have a proper plan B. They're like Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool from a couple of years ago. They only know how to play one type of football. Do you think maybe he's come up with something now for the run in? Because they still have a chance of winning it, of course.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. And whether I mean, he's quite a hard-headed sort of guy. You know, he's from, my family's from Tuscany, his family's from Tuscany as well, although he was born further south, but, you know, he considers himself to be a Tuscan, and they're renowned for being hard-headed kind of people. I mean, Max Allegri's one as well, and, you know, they don't change their mind easily, and I think he thinks that's the way that football should be played, then, you know, he may try to stick to his guns, but at the same time, you know, this is a major I mean, it's really probably a once in a generation opportunity for Napoli. It's been a long time since they won the Scudetto, you know, so to not come up with a plan B, especially when he's now got Milik back to sort of give him a different option in attack, and I think, you know, that's something that they've been slow to use. I mean, it's beautiful to watch Napoli. I don't know how often you've seen them this season, but
as often as I can.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know, that's my feeling as well. That, you know, as a relative neutral, you know, if there's a Serie A game that I can see, and if anybody's listening that doesn't watch much Serie A, then, you know, tune in when Napoli are playing, because you'll get good value, you get some lovely football, and some of the stuff, particularly the way they play out from the back, is it's slightly scary, I think, if you were a Napoli fan, because you're thinking, oh my, you know, they're going to lose the ball here, they're going to play themselves into trouble, but when they do play themselves out of trouble, it's beautiful to watch. But Sarri's he is a good tactician. He's not a stupid man. So I'm sure he'll have seen the same as you or I, that there has been a slowdown in Napoli's performance. Maybe, you know, Italy's full of astute managers, as we kind of highlighted earlier. So, you know, they do get to grips with tactics pretty quickly, you know, so, you know, Napoli might beat you 4-0 in the first half of the season, but they'll not let themselves get beat 4-0 the second time. You know, they do work out tactics, they work out ways to spoil, the ways to frustrate you or whatever, and Napoli haven't been quite as sharp as they were in the early stages of the season. And it's difficult because I think it's fair to say they rely on a smaller squad of players, really. None of the squad's big, but they've got a core of players that Sarri's played, you know, and you do notice when one or two are missing, you know, it's more difficult for them, whereas Juventus seem to swap the personnel, but they always seem to get the result one way or another. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's Mandzukic or Higuain or Dybala or whoever might be playing that. They seem to grind out a result one way or another. So I've not really answered your question, because I don't know if he's. I mean, my suspicion is he'll try to win it. If I was a betting man, I think he'll try to win it his way. I think he'll try to stick to his guns and keep playing the beautiful football. But you know, in Italy, we're all realists, we're all pragmatists. He may well have something up his sleeve that'll come up with an answer, and it'd be great to see. I think what everybody neutral anyway wants is for that the last Juventus-Napoli game of the season to be a real title showdown, you know, for the Scudetto to still be on the line when those two teams meet. I think that would be good, because it's been a long time since we've had a genuine battle go on quite so long. So, you know, for it to come down to a showdown between those two would be fantastic.
Magic, yeah. I know Juventus fans who want Napoli to win the league. I think that's crazy. Look, I could talk to you about Italian football all day, Giancarlo, because I love Italian football. I watch as much as I can. So I just want to ask you one more about what's going on in Serie B, because Empoli they're about five points ahead of second place Frosinone, who and they have a game in hand as well. But the real battle is below them. So you have Frosinone, Palermo, and then you have the next where we're down to 8th, where Parma are, and all of those can get into the playoff, because the Italian Serie B rules are quite funny with promotion. If there's less than 10 points between second and third, between third and fourth, then they have to go into this playoff system. So this is going to happen this season, because there's only where are Parma? Parma on 47, Palermo on 54, so there's not really much between them at all. Now, Empoli are going to come up. They have this great strike force of Francesco Caputo and Alfredo Donnarumma. I've been watching them. They've been brilliant. I can't wait to see them back up, because they were very unlucky to go down in last season. But can you predict who's going to come up or what? Because it's so tight down there.
I don't think you can. I've been following Serie B for a long time, and although I don't follow it as closely now as I used to, the one thing I do still know is that it's always a real dog fight to get out of Serie B, and some big teams have gone down and thought they would come straight back up, and found that it's another world when you go down there. I mean, as you say, Empoli look the class act of the division. They've got an old, I'm a Fiorentina fan. They've got an old Fiorentina hero, Manuel Pasquale, who's been pretty much an ever present for them, and still providing the assists from fullback, which is a testimony to his professionalism. They are a cracking good team, but to call the rest of it is really difficult, because although as you say, the playoff system means that you've got some big names there. Personally, I think Venezia are in with a shout, Palermo, Paddy. You've got some big names from years gone by that could all have a crack at it. I mean, I'd like to see, if I was picking a team to come up out of those playoffs, I think a few of us would like to see either Venezia or Parma come up, just because they've kind of done the Fiorentina route, if you will, and gone down to the depths of Italian football, and are now scrapping their way back up. I mean, Venezia in particular, an interesting project with their American owners, and looking to do things a little bit differently, looking to tap into the tourist market in Venice. It's a beautiful city and it's a busy city, and if they can find a way of kind of tapping into that, then the potential for them, I mean, you may well remember them as a Serie A club not a million years ago, when they had the likes of Pippo Maniero and Alvaro Recoba playing for them. They were a good team and entertaining to watch. So and Parma obviously would be another great redemption story, and that's not. I don't want to cause offence to any Perugia or Cittadella fans or Frosinone fans that are tuning in, but I think there are some names that just evoke a great past of Italian football, and I always like Serie A to have all the biggest names it can have in it, so I would never predict, because genuinely, the form, I've watched the results coming in from Serie B, and I think every week you look and you think, that's a stick on home win, and it turns out to be an away win, and vice versa. The results are just, nobody's got the consistent form at the moment, I don't think, barring Empoli really, to make a convincing case for their return to the top. So it's going to be, I think that one will go right to the wire, and the playoffs are always pretty epic. I remember Fiorentina coming back up through the playoffs with Perugia a few years ago, and that was one of the most amazing nights of a Fiorentina fan's life. And again, that was the sort of the redemption story of coming back from the fourth tier of Italian football straight back to Serie A. And I'm sure there'll be a few Parma and Venezia fans and other sides as well. They'll be hoping that they can come up, but it's going to be one to watch right to the very last beatings of that season.
Yeah, I can't wait. Well, look, Giancarlo, thank you so much for coming on, and we hope that you'll come back on before the end of the season and we can talk about it again, because to listen to an Italian man with such a beautiful Scottish accent wax lyrical about Serie A and Serie B, it's just music to my ears. I could listen to it all night, that. But Giancarlo, we have to have other people on and talk about other things. Thank you so much for coming on, and we look forward to having you on again.
No problem, it's been a pleasure.
Let's go on then to our peculiarities, our little weird football news from all around the world. Boys, have you heard about Floyd Mayweather? He wants to buy Newcastle? No, obviously.
Yes, I've read this news, and it's particularly interesting for me, because Slovakia have a goalkeeper now in Newcastle.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, he's very good. He had a great start in first match.
Yeah,
in the starting 11. Yeah. He played against Man United and he got a clean sheet. So it was a great start into the Premier League. And it doesn't happen very often that Slovakian players get to play regularly in the Premier League, which he managed to do so far. And crossed fingers that he can do it because he's only on loan from Sparta Prague. Of course, there are some agreements that it can become a permanent transfer in summer, but it will depend a lot on how the season goes for Newcastle, because we know that they still fight for survival in the Premier League. But to get back to your question, yes, this can be quite interesting.
What a strange one, huh?
I wonder if he will introduce new training methods for the Newcastle United players if he's going to buy the club. What do you think?
You spoke about your goalkeeper, right?
Yeah, just to say his name.
He's really good, right?
Yeah,
he's really good.
Martin Dubravka, just to complete the picture for the listeners, that's his name. He is actually, at the moment, the national team goalkeeper number 1 as well.
I'm just watching a YouTube video of him, man. He's great.
He's great.
Wow,
yeah.
He has awesome saves. But you know who's also very good? Floyd Mayweather. In boxing, not in football, man. I'm definitely down on this. I think it's a disaster if he buys the club.
I don't like
I think
he's Money Mayweather, man. He's really good with money.
I know he has the money, but I mean, he doesn't. He's not. I don't think he's an entrepreneur. That's it. I don't think.
No, he is, man. He is like
go to this level.
But you know that this big fight he had with McGregor, all of those promotion videos, even that film that McGregor had released in like cinemas in Ireland and England, like they were all made by Mayweather's production company. He made a fortune off that fight because any fight that comes up, he just makes sure that he buys all of the rights to everything, and his companies produce all the stuff. I don't think he's the brainiest man in the world, but I think he has hired incredibly smart people to do his bidding. So I don't know, maybe we could see it. I think it'd be crazy.
I would not underestimate him, Carlos. I think he knows his business, and from my side, he's the kind of person, and to continue what Paddy was saying, that he's got a team of people around him who are really good in marketing and all these activities that they could actually run a football club successfully. Okay, so they are running the club, not Floyd.
Yeah.
But the question, that brings on another question: why Newcastle?
But mine must be like Newcastle. When Newcastle were relegated down to the Championship, they boosted the Championship's like viewing numbers and seats numbers by I think 10 or 15% or something. Because like every week they sell out a 66,000 seater stadium. They sell every week, even in the Championship they were selling out. There's money coming into that club all the time. And there's only one club in the city, and it's like a religion up there. So I think there's a lot of money to be made up there.
It's a strong club on the market. I've got few friends from UK who are Newcastle fans, and they say that exactly what Paddy was saying, that up there it's a religion and people go mad about Newcastle. So probably there is a big potential in that club.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what he sees. I think it'd be great for the Premier League. Maybe. Let's see. Boys, moving on. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that it would be good for the image of the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. I don't think it would be particularly good for Newcastle. I mean, they were good when they had the movie. You remember the movie? Goal movie?
Oh yeah, that was atrocious.
Please tell me you remember that.
Oh, I turned it off.
Of course we remember, yeah.
That was their prime time for me. 15 minutes of fame for Newcastle then.
I'd love for him to come in and just blow a ton of money and buy like a whole load of aging stars. Like imagine if you had like Cristiano Ronaldo at Newcastle. That'd be class. Or bring back some kind of players who are coming to the end of their careers
that
who are still.
Never ever happen.
I know it wouldn't happen, but we can dream, Carlos. We can dream. Okay.
You know?
Boys, have you heard about the Lazio email scam? No, so look, I'll read this for you. So according to the Italian newspaper Il Tempo, Lazio received an email from hackers pretending to be Feyenoord, asking for the final €2 million of the Stefan de Virgil transfer deal. Lazio paid the money to the account in the email, and then Feyenoord said, no, we didn't get any payment at all. We never heard of any email.
I will say one thing: the internet is a very dangerous place nowadays.
Could you imagine being in work the next day after that, and it was, oh God, you'd be killed. Like I've made some mistakes in my career.
It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good for just to arrive to the office and, I mean, what's this 2 million about? You know,
this is very scary actually for me.
Yeah.
Because this can happen to you as a person, that somebody sends you email that seems to be like from a, I don't know, electricity company that you didn't pay the bill, whatever. Imagine any example that you didn't pay something that you were supposed to pay. It looked very official, with nicely laid out, and sometimes it's very difficult to realize it's not actually the official email from the company. So internet is becoming a very dangerous place, and for me, it's very scary. Very scary.
I just feel so sorry for the person who did it. You know, I feel so sorry.
The next big thing in football is going to be counter-terrorism online. You know, so I think we need to get some online courses to sign with Lazio for that in that role. You know, it would help them. For sure.
Did you see, I think it was last week or during the week that, what's his name? AC Milan owner, Lee Yon-hong, he's tried to refinance the club because he owes a lot of money still from his, from when he bought it. He tried to buy a load of Bitcoin, and everyone was just like, oh God, what are you doing? Oh no, what have we done? I don't know. I think that's going to end badly for AC Milan.
I thought we were going straight to the stars that are going to miss the World Cup. I was really surprised you talked about that.
Yeah, let's get on to that then. So we want to talk about an article that we found during the week. 9 big stars who are likely to miss out on the World Cup. So we spoke about Mauro Icardi with Giancarlo early in the podcast, so we can skip by him. Boys, Mario Götze, he's not going to make it into the team.
Well, he scored the winning goal 4 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. It's a shame, his injuries, isn't it?
He's a very talented lad, but he's quite unlucky with all the injuries that he had to go through. And he's got the potential, but I would compare him to Marco Reus, you know, in a sense. Marco Reus is also... Yeah, exactly. Bad luck. You need to have a talent. You need to work hard. But you need to be lucky as well. Yeah. Because sometimes injuries, that's all what it's about. You can do everything right. You can eat right. You can, you can go to sleep at the right time. You know, you can have the proper routine of a football player. Treat your body as well as possible. Work hard on training. Work hard yourself. But then you're one bad tackle at a training session, just unlucky. You know, it comes naturally in a game, and you're out for several months. You come back, you work even harder to get back. You train again, something happens. You know, it's quite cold. You pull your muscle, something like this. I think these two boys are very unlucky, and yeah, that's why I was comparing Götze to Reus.
Carlos, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was gonna jump into the Portuguese actually.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. There's 2 Portuguese players on the list, Nani and Renato Sanchez. What's the story?
I mean, there's no story here. Okay, I can tell you that both are gonna miss the World Cup. It's not they might miss the World Cup. They will miss the World Cup. Okay? I don't have a direct line to the coach, but I can tell that they will miss the World Cup easily. I don't even know what Renato Sanchez is doing here, to be honest. I have no idea what he's doing in his list, man. He's 20 years old, and we know that he's not playing in his club. And he didn't have a good spell in Bayern Munich either. He didn't have any chances, of course, and he went out to try and get some more minutes. It didn't went well. It doesn't mean he's not a good player. He is a good player. We don't even know if he's going to make the under-21s. How the hell is he going to make the A's? He's not going to be there. Trust me. That's for Renato. And then for Nani, he's not going to be in either, man. I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a golden boy coming up called Gonçalo Guedes. You know him. And he's gonna be the revelation of the national team this World Cup. Write that down. Write that down. Okay, boys, I can assure you that.
There's two other big names on the list I want to mention as well. Karim Benzema for France and Alvaro Morata. And another one, Cesc Fabregas for Spain as well. Is there any case to be made for the three of them to make it into their national teams?
I'm particularly interested if Alvaro Morata makes the team, because he would probably deserve to make the team, even though we spoke about this last week, or was it the week before? It will depend on the current form, because of so much quality that Spain have in their squad, or potential squad, let's say this way. So it will be quite interesting to see if he will end up in the team or not. But if he has a chance, he definitely has a chance, I would say. He needs to do well, stay healthy until the end of the season. But he needs to start firing some goals for Chelsea, that's for sure.
Sorry, Thomas, I'm going to go against you again, man. I don't think he has any chance of going. I think the national coach has made up his mind, and he knows who he might take. He knows he's not gonna. I think he's not even considering Alvaro Morata at this point. And I think at this point it's already too late to consider him, given that he already has his mind made up. Moreover, with the two friendlies that he just had, which are friendlies are very important for football life. Let's not forget about that. They're not meaningless friendlies. They are important friendlies that that national team coaches, they use to find the better solutions. And in this case, come on, I think it's done.
Carlos, what? You learned something last week. I'm very happy to hear that. I heard you followed plenty of friendlies during this international break, and you even recorded some of them, and you're going to play them out after we finish the recording, and tomorrow until basically all week until the league action starts. But you finally got my idea on this, and I'm very happy that you took it on board.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish this podcast. I'm gonna sit down watching the full of intensity friendlies that we had in the past few days. Yes, because they're so intense that I don't even know, man. It's just I might just die with all this intensity. My heart goes too fast,
I don't know, Carlo. There's a big Serie B match between Ascoli and Barry tonight. I think that's what I'm going to be glued to. But it's going to be long over by the time the listeners get this podcast. Next up then we have Thomas, who spoke to Hungarian football writer Attila Benei, I hope I'm saying that properly, Attila, about the upcoming Hungarian derby, the Classico of Hungary, where Ferencvaros are taking on Ujpest.
Hello Attila, we decided to invite you for this very special podcast that we have online, speaking about the biggest Hungarian derby between the Ferencvaros and Ujpest. You're around Ujpest for many years, so try to tell us first how big the derby is for Ujpest fans.
It is really hard to find words to describe my feelings when it comes to derby day. I'm almost 50 now, but still when it's about the derby day, it is just like one day before my family cannot talk to me. Simply I just reject almost all people to talk to me because I already have my balls in my pants and my belly is aching all the time. and I just cannot think of anything else but the victory.
The rivalry between Ferencvaros and Ujpest is well known even here in Slovakia. And a few years ago, I visited one of the derby games with you when playing at the Ujpest ground. What is the difference, let's say, the basic difference between a Ferencvaros fan and an Ujpest fan? How would you categorize the fans? Who is likely to be a Ferencvaros fan and who is likely to be, let's say, Ujpest fan?
Very particular question. I mean, basically, I think that being a Ferencvaros fan is, in my opinion, is a kind of a heritage. Suppose your grandfather or your father or anyone in your family supports Ferencvaros, it seems impossible to pick up on Ujpest, and as long as Ferencvaros has been and is still told to be the team of the Hungarian nation, team of Hungary, people rather choose Ferencvaros to support than Ujpest. I would say to be an Ujpest fan is more about being a local patriot, being a patriot of the 4th district, and I don't know what else I could say about that, because I do have Ferencvaros friends, of course, but no special reason I was given whenever I asked them about how they had become a supporter of Ferencvaros. But mainly, I think, simply of course, it's not only a heritage, but sometimes I wouldn't like to use the word a trend, but it's really trendy to be a Ferencvaros fan. I just hope that using the word trendy to be a Ferencvaros fan will not make Ferencvaros fan across with me, but I feel it to be true. When I decided to choose to be an Ujpest fan, was a feeling like I didn't want to belong to the majority, because it must be said that Ferencvaros have the biggest supporter numbers in Hungary, and all around Hungary you can find Ferencvaros fans everywhere in the country. Basically, I was also growing up on as long as I recall, my very, very first radio broadcast match was the famous 8-3 game against Ferencvaros that Ujpest won, and it also made me an Ujpest fan, and mainly in my case it was a feeling that I wasn't feeling belong to the majority,
Ferencvaros are top of the league with 50 points, while Ujpest are sitting on third with 33 points. That seems to be quite difficult for Ujpest to close the gap for the title race, but Videoton is second, just 3 points behind Ferencvaros.
Yes. Really a good question. Really
So the question is, just to finish, it seems to me that for Ferencvaros, this upcoming derby is important in terms of title race, but also Ujpest are fighting hard for the European spots. I know that Ujpest missed for quite a few years now on European football, so this also, I think, adds a bit of chili taste into the derby. What do you think, Attila?
Yes, there was a really good question. It is in a reachable distance now to earn a European Cup berth, reaching third or the cup, or to be a cup winners. If you check the table, it is correct that Ferencvaros are 3 points ahead of the rivals, Videoton FC, and honestly, the title race now, it is just of two parties, these two teams. It's also true that Videoton have a game in hand away at Budapest home weight. So, it will be a do-or-die game for Ferencvaros, because given the fact that it is only 7-8 rounds left, any mistake, losing 3 points could be really vital in the title race. It is also true, on the other hand, that from the point of view just you said, it could be a vital 3 points for Ujpest reaching the third place on the table. And really interesting, because the schedule is like Ujpest can be the kingmakers, if you know what I mean, because on Saturday we host Ferencvaros, and the next round we pay a visit to Videoton. So in case Ujpest takes away 3 points either of the teams, they could be a kingmaker, which makes them their supporters a good feeling, because either it will be Ferencvaros or Videoton topping the league, but you take 3 points away from the other one, it would be a great feeling.
And the final question from me, Attila, you definitely will go to the stadium, right, on Saturday. Let's try to be a bit neutral. I know you're an Ujpest fan, but what do you think the result will look like on Saturday?
First of all, I must say that I will have to make two parts of this question, because of course my heart says home win, but my mind says it could easily be an away win, because Ferencvaros are really on a good run, flying high, really a flying high team at the moment, which cannot be told about Videoton at the moment, because they just suffer. They got victories in the last rounds, but suffering against Balmaisulváros at home, fighting off relegation zone, and I think at the moment Ferencvaros is in a much better how to say? Can you help me with the word, please? It's like
much better shape.
Yeah, much better shape at the moment than Videoton. Ujpest lost one of their best strikers, knee injury, and even though Ujpest have shown really a stable defense in the last few games, including cup matches, Ferencvaros have a really strong team, especially in the upfront, very fast attackers. I think it will be an away win. If I must say something,
your scoreline prediction?
1 for Ujpest and 2 for away team Ferencvaros.
But we'll see some goals.
Yeah, both teams will put their best efforts to score, and I think both teams will score, but Ferencvaros will have more.
That's very good news to hear, at least that we will have a high scoring game. It's also good to attract people from different countries to watch this match. It's a fierce derby, so there will be a really good atmosphere, and both set of fans will do their best to support their teams. And it's always good that we expect some attacking action and some goals in. Attila, thank you very much for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
We hope you enjoy the game.
I will.
And hope to have you another time for maybe another topic from Hungarian football. Thank you very much, Attila.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Look, we'll wrap up then, folks. Thank you so much for listening, and a huge thanks to Giancarlo Rinaldi and Attila Benei for coming on and speaking about Italian and Hungarian football. We'll be back next week then to tackle more interesting leads from around Europe as club football will return from the international break. So from me, Paddy Murphy, Carlos Santos and Thomas Chunchik, thank you so much for listening. You can get us on Facebook at 3 Wonder Subs, Twitter Wonder wonder_subs, and we're also on, of course, iTunes, Android, podcatcher thingies, and we're on YouTube as well. So, support us by telling all your friends about us and help us grow this little podcast into something really mighty. Thank you. Goodbye.